type your questions. Once you type your questions, my colleagues who I'll introduce shortly will keep an eye on the chat box, introducing those for you, and then Purvi will answer them. Just as a quick note, Purvi's had some problems with her technical support this morning, so she is only available on audio. So she'll present the presentation today through an audio feed. Her answers for any questions will also be over audio as opposed to video. So you'll have to just put up with looking at me, Gemma and Maria, but we're here as well to support the session. So I'll introduce first, Gemma Scott is joining us as well. So she, as many of you may have already seen and met already, is the Faculty Employability Advisor for the School of Law. And we're also joined by Maria Ilario, who is our Digital and Project Coordinator, who helps to run all of our pop-up sessions for MDX Works. So Maria and Gemma will be keeping an eye out for some questions from you all.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Just before we start, you may see this slide in front of you, which is just a few points about the session. So as said, for privacy, all of your microphones and cameras are turned off. So questions are going to be typed into the chat box. We really do encourage you to ask questions. These sessions only really work as well as they can if you are inquisitive and you've got lots of things to inquire about. Purvi's given up some time today to be here with us, so it'd be great to really keep her engaged and ensure that she has to dig deep into her knowledge around careers within the Met. Another point to note is the workshop is recorded, and that's also why your cameras and mics are completely turned off, because we want to share this content with students who are unable to make it today, and maybe even share it with people in the future who may be interested in studying certain programs at Middlesex, because we're wanting to work closely with them moving forward. Any technical issues, as said here, you can maybe type it in the text box if it's a lot of people having an issue. What we find is if you log out and log back in, usually those things rectify themselves quite easily. And then as a final point, as you know, MDX Works, we're here to support you to shape your career, to support you with looking for a graduate role. Anything that you hear today from the Met and Purvi around opportunities, and you need any further follow-up or support, I'm sure Purvi will be happy to answer some questions again on a one-to-one. But also Gemma is here as your advisor to help with any applications you want to send off and talk through any questions you may have. And I'll be here likewise to do that. So get in touch with those details there if you need any further follow-up support from today. So I don't want to take up any more time. I want to hand over to Purvi, so she's going to talk you through the presentation. And yeah, welcome Purvi, and over to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Purvi Vasani, and I'm an outreach recruitment lead covering the Northwest area, which is Barnet, Brent, and Harrow. And I welcome you to this presentation. And I can see that you are all keenly interested in working within the police. That's very good to know. Okay, and can I have video on, please, Jack?
Yes, certainly. We'll get that on for you.
London. Over 8.5 million people. Most don't really know us. They just know we're here. Helping them sleep at night. Keeping them safe. Protected. Away from the gangs, the drugs, the knives. But for some, for the 160,000 we arrest, they don't sleep so easy. We're the first through the door, catching the thieves, the muggers, the murderers. It can be the hardest job in London. But ask any of us while we do it, and we'll tell you we wouldn't do anything else. Because we're a team, getting it done, dealing with life, death, crime, and its victims. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Each one different to the next. It's why we can't wait for our shift to start, and sometimes end. But knowing you're doing good, stopping others do bad, makes you feel proud. Taking care of family, friends, neighbours, London. It's the greatest reason in the world. Do something real. Become a police officer in London's Met. Search Met Police Careers.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay. Hopefully everybody was able to see that.
Some of our screens were frozen, so don't worry about it.
Okay. If not, we'll share the video afterwards with the slides, so that's not a problem.
Yeah. So as you have seen and heard in the video, that as a police officer, our duty is to keep London safe, and we do the stuff and do the things which nobody else wants to do, and we really believe and help people change their life. And we are very proud of to become a police officer, and we would not do any other job if we are a police officer. That is what they are much more dedicated. Like who are the police officers, they are much more dedicated to become a police officer and not to choose any other careers apart from that. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. So I would be running through different routes to become a police officer. So until this year, February, we had only one route, which is called Initial Police Learning and Development Program. From March this year, we introduced 2 new programs and hoping to continue this on a longer run. So the 2 new programs are Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship Program and Degree Holder Entry Program. Next slide, please. So as I told you in my previous slide, that we only had one route initially up to the end of February. It was Initial Police Learning and Development Program. And for that program, we only needed GCSE grade 4 and above. And it was open for the non-degree holders. And it is a combination of on-the-job and academic training. And the training is delivered by Met, either at Hendon or Marlow House. And the starting salary for this is around £29,000, just about £29,000. But we would be talking today and concentrating more about degree holder entry program, which is much more suited to you guys because you are all working towards your degree or in your final year of your degree. So degree holder entry program is also a 2-year program, which is open to the degree holders. Yeah, and it is delivered by on-the-job and academic training. And we have tied up with different 4 London universities to deliver that program. And you will be working to earn your graduate diploma. And the starting salary is 31,000 . So the beauty of this program is that you would be a paid employee from the day one you sign up for the program. Once you have been selected and you start your training, you would be a day one as a paid employee from the day one. So you would be starting with the induction. Once you have done your induction, you would be going for 17 weeks of initial police learning at the universities. The universities we have tied up with Brunel University, University of West London, University of East London, and Angela Ruskin University. So you would be studying at that university for 17 weeks. Once you have studied, then we would put you onto your basic command unit, which is the place of work you have selected, where you, like the borough you have selected to work with. We call it as BCUs, which is known as Basic Command Unit. So you will start your street duties. Street duties is like learn how to do arrest, how to do stop and search, how to question, if you have to question somebody after the incident, how would you ask questions, what sort of notes you would be taking during that question and answer session, how would you then present the question and answer session into the report. So once you have learned that, you will be earning independent patrol status. So once you have earned the independent patrol status, that means that you can lead a campaign to go alone and do arrest or question anybody without any other police officers around you. If like you are traveling in a bus and you saw an incident and you have got an independent patrol status, you can take an action immediately. That is the benefit of independent patrol status, because you're now fully trained as a police officer and you have got understanding of how the procedures takes place. So that's why you've got the independent patrol status. Then it would be covered throughout your in your second year. It would be covered through operational duties and more learning at your BCUs. You would be working around different areas within policing and learn how they operate. And then you will be going back to your universities to learn to small blocks of learning. So once you have finished your 2 years program, there is a guaranteed job within MET. So we are not going to tell you that, okay, you have finished your program, now you can leave us. No, we would like you to stay with us. So we are giving you a guaranteed job within the policing and a continuous career development path, basically. So once you finish your 2 years program, you can go and work into different units or go and work into specialized units, like train yourself to become a firearms officer, train yourself to become a detective constable, train yourself to work like forensic experts, So we open, after the 2 years, all the opportunities are open for you. And you can specialize in any unit. If you don't want to specialize in any unit and you decide to stay within the unit you are, we would be giving you the opportunity to work within the units where you are, like work into the school units, work into neighborhood units, work into response units, because MET is a big organization and police is needed in every unit. So you would be working into different units, provided what you choose. And then you would be working towards career progression, like becoming a sergeant or becoming an inspector. Once you have done that, and one second, sorry. So it gives you, once you have completed this course and this program, this gives you a wider opportunity to work within the MET. Next slide, please. So you have to decide which route is right for you, because in the degree holder entry program, it's a combination of like on the job learning and working towards a graduate diploma in professional policing and practice. And you would be earning a great salary, and while you're protecting the landers. And this is a fantastic route for those who have already who's already studying in the university and wants to go for the career within the MET. Next slide, please. So as I discussed with you earlier, the universities where you would be learning is Brunel University, University of West London, University of East London, and University and Angela Ruskin University. So choice of the university would depend upon certain factors. The borough you choose to work in, because as you are aware that London is divided between 36 boroughs, and as a Met, we have divided further them into 12 BCUs. So depending upon which BCU you choose, depending upon where you live, and the availability within the university, these are the factors which would play a key role when we are assigning the universities. Next slide, please. So what you would be assessed on? You would be assessed on operational assessments or academic and academic assessments. The operational assessments is how effectively you do an initial response to the critical incidents. How engaging how engaging are you with the communities to get the information out, or how do you conduct an effective evaluation of intelligence? Or like for the academic assessments, you would be doing presentations, report writings, and critical reviews about the experience you have got throughout your on-the-job learning. Next slide, please. So, what grades do you need? For degree holder entry program, you would need GCSE grade 4 and above in English. Okay, and you should be having a degree, level 6 degree from a UK higher education institute. And while you're applying, you should be studying in your final year. Next slide, please. So this is the application form. So if you type in like www.met.police.uk/PC pathways, so it will take you through the application form. So when you are doing the application form, you be very careful and read the questions properly. Sometimes people are like, I had an incident last week that somebody, while filling up the application form, somebody selected a no to a question where it has to be yes. Like, are you ready to give us the financial status of yours? And he accidentally selected no, and his application was rejected. Once the application is rejected, you have to wait for 3 months. You have to wait for 3 months to reapply. So you have to be very careful when you are filling up the application form. So what does the recruitment process looks like? So recruitment process are divided between day 1 and day 2. And it can take from anything from 6 to 8 months, depending upon your vetting. So what does the day 1 involves? Day 1 involves, once you finish your application form and you have done your behavioral test and you have passed, you would be invited for your day 1 assessment. In day 1 assessment, you would be having a 2 video-based exercise in which candidate would watch a footage of police scenario and then select the answers which are appropriate to the footage. Then you would be doing 1 collaborative exercise with your partner on that day to see how do you work with other people. Then there would be 2 interactive exercise in which the candidates will be interacting with the public played role with the public played role actors, like resolving a conflict between the neighbors, or how would you talk and what type of questions you will ask to the young person who's under 18. That sort of scenarios would come up. And then there would be a written exercise. And then there would be a competency-based interview. To pass your day 1, you have to get 55%. Once you have passed your day one, you would be called in for your health assessments, where the health assessment is a combination to see the met nurse, to do your hearing test and eye test, to do your substance misuse test, DNA test, and fingerprinting test. And then once you've done that, you will go for your fitness test, and you can discuss, and the nurse would discuss with you in detail if you have any medical condition. Once you have passed that, bleep test, the fitness test is also called as bleep test, which is a 5.4 bleep test, which is more like a jogging rather than a running, and if I can achieve, everybody can achieve that, basically. It is as easy as that. It just needs minimum practice, but you have to run between the bleeps. And then once you have completed your bleep test, your pre-employment checks would start, and you would be sent a vetting form, and you have to complete your vetting form. That is the most longest period of the whole application process, because it can take anything from 12 weeks to 26 weeks, depending upon the work history, the financial situation, and the family members who are been declared on the vetting form. And once the vetting has been cleared, there would be onboarding and training, and there would be a passing out parade. Next slide, please. So key pointer for this is to be honest. Yeah, if in doubt, just disclose it. However minor it is, we would come to know. Check all your social media. Yeah, remember, we also check the social media feeds. So you have to check all your social media for inappropriate content. Take your time and read the application form very carefully. If you have made a mistake, your application fails as a result, and you have to wait for another 3 months before you can reapply. Before completing the application form, you have to gather all your details. So it is very easy for you to go through the application form, fill up the application form. Details means like your address histories, your work experience or work histories, your details of your family members, your brothers, your sisters, if they're staying in the same roof or they're staying others in the different areas or different addresses, you have to get the addresses and the details ready before you fill in the application form. So there are, apart from the frontline policing, there are other careers within the Met. We call as voluntary police officers. We call them as MSCs. Then police support volunteers and staff roles. I'll be going through one by one. So voluntary police officers, we call them as special constable or MSC constable, wherein you are a voluntary police officer with the same rights and power as a police officer. The training here is for 20 days, which is and it's also non-residential training. It can be done in the blocks of 12 weekends or 20 consecutive weekdays. And the assessments would be knowledge examination, practical assessment, and written assessment. And then there would be onboarding and support on your BCUs. The best part of it is 16 hours a month of your choice. Okay. You get free travel around London. Yeah. And you become a key worker at the same time. If you're working somewhere else and you're doing a voluntary job, you would be valued more as an employee to your employer than person who's just doing that job. Okay. Then there are staff roles within the Met. The working for Met does not only means you would be working in frontline. We have 14,000 strong team of professionals and support staff working behind the scenes, which gives organizational capability to Police London. Roles from accountancy to administration, finance to forensic, HR to IT, and occupational health to operational support, and everything within you can you can think of. There are roles available within the Met, basically. Next slide, please. So to apply for that roles, for staff roles, you have to go onto the police website and see the role what you like, and then the requirement. What are the requirements for the roles? What are the requirements for the roles, and your knowledge and your training towards the roles, and you have to fill up the application form, and you have to fill in the competency-based questionnaires to apply for this roles, for the staff roles. Any questions, please?
So I think there's been quite a few questions on the chat. So I've got 3 so far. So I'll run them in order of when they were asked. So a question from one of our students says, what kind of people is the Met looking for? Is there a specific personality or behavioural wise you are looking for? Any details on that?
We have not shortlisted or not categorized people with behavior or personalities. But once you complete your application form, you would be doing a behavioral test. And once you pass that behavioral test, you are suitable to become work within police, basically.
Okay, thank you. I've got another one.
We have not categorized them into any. Sorry, I just wanted to specify that we have not given defined guidelines that this person or this personality can only become a police officer. Anybody can become a police officer if they pass that behavioral questionnaire, which is done after the application form.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we've got another one from a student who is currently a special constable for the Met and have an independent. Oh, sorry, my questions just moved. They are a special constable for the Met and have independent patrol status. What recruitment program would be best in relation to them? They're already within the Met.
So they can apply for this degree holder apprenticeship program if they want to, and they would be fast tracked within this program because they have already got the independent patrol status, basically.
Okay.
So they can apply for this degree holder apprenticeship program if they want to.
Brilliant. So, we've got quite a few coming in now. So another one from from someone is saying, where can they find a list and information on all the specialist units within the Met?
If you go onto the Metropolitan website, you would find the units there. And if you want, I can send you the list of units which are available within the Met.
That would be brilliant.
Via email.
That would be great. So we've got another one here. Is the DHEP available outside of London in other forces too?
It is available people living outside London, yes, but it's not available because different force does different programs.
Okay.
So I'm not aware about other forces doing this program.
Okay, brilliant. So another one we've got. Can you say a little about the competency questions? How can they be prepared for, or where can people prepare for these?
Yeah, competency-based questions would be based on the value within the policing, net value framework of the policing. And it is usually answered by the STAR technique, like situation, task, what was the approach, and what was the result. So, and you can find more about on YouTube. If you search competency-based questionnaires, you will find more information on Google also.
Okay, so that's something that can be done. So the next one is, what is your annual intake, and does employment run annually or in monthly groups? How and when is the best time to apply?
Okay, yeah, this program runs on the monthly group, and it's going to be, the process is going to, like, the first intake is going to start from coming September. And after that, there would be monthly intake. And we are looking around 150 to 200 intakes on a monthly basis. And all depends upon your vetting, how fast you clear your vetting. It depends upon that also. So it will, once you clear your vetting, then if you clear your vetting in say October, November time, your training would start in January, because December is a very quiet period and we don't do any intake during December. So your training would start in January. But it all depend upon the vetting. When you clear your vetting, how fast you clear your vetting. Once you clear, within a month or two, you will start your training.
Brilliant. Thanks. Another student has asked, how do you become a detective or intelligence officer, and do you need previous experience for one of these roles?
No, you don't need a previous experience. We run a campaign every year to become a trainee detective, which is open for the degree holder. Which is open for the degree holder people, and it is run once a year. So you have to keep very close eye on the website, because it is filled up very quickly.
Yeah.
But the other best part, if you do this program, you just have to do an additional unit to get into detective. That's it. So you don't have to go through the whole program to become a detective constable, because you have already passed this program, and you just have to give through the internal vacancy, you just have to do an additional unit to become a detective constable.
Brilliant. Another student has asked, is there any roles directly working with youths, such as what a youth offending officer would do?
Yes, we do have a school unit. We have a youth sergeant, or we can say youth officer, who works and look after candidates under 18, like people under 18. But to do that becomes very specialist. So to do that, you have to do either this program or initial police learning program. And once you have passed your probation, you can move into that specialist unit.
Okay, that's really interesting. A lot of the students we have on at the moment are studying criminology with a specialist of youth justice, so that will be of real interest to them. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I've got someone's asking, can an international student apply for a job at the Met?
International students, we don't stop them, but
okay,
they have to have lived in the country for the last 3 years. They have to have either indefinite leave to remain or a proper visa for next couple of years to work within the Met. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
another student has asked, they're interested in the police staff vacancies, but is it easier to be employed if you have a PIP level 1? I'm not quite sure what that means.
PIP level 1. I'm also not sure what that means, but
Ramissa, can you clarify what you mean with that, and we'll get back to that question. Isabel's asked, could you go back to the assessment? Will these slides be made available?
yes, I can share that slide with you.
Yeah, Isabel will. You'll be able to get a copy of these slides. So, is it possible to specialise in more than one area? So, for example, firearms and detective.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can specialize in more than one area. Like if you become a detective, once you have completed the program, and if you have specialized to become a detective, and then you decide, because as a detective, specialized detective, you want to use firearms when you are going to catch a criminal, and you think that for the safety, you need to, the role what you're doing requires firearms, then they will train you to hold firearms, like train you for that specialization, basically.
Brilliant. Oh, wait. Okay, we've got a few more coming in now. So, so someone's just asked about the youth work. If you could repeat what you were saying. You were saying that there is opportunities and units to specialise with youths and young offenders, and it's a very specialised pathway within the Met. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep. So Mel, I hope you got all of that. If you need clarity or anything, just drop another message. So this student who mentioned the PIP, she's seen a few roles that require PIP level 1, which is a 5-day course for investigative interviewing.
Okay. It's not necessary that you should have you are required. If the role depends on how specialized the role is.
Okay.
And if that role really requires that qualification or that training, then you can apply for it if you have it.
Okay. So a student has asked, what would working for the Met give me in regards with future opportunities, such as easier access to careers in MI5, Ministry of Defence, etc.?
Yes, you can have an easy transition into specialist units, because we have SO15, we have MI5s working with us. So through the internal vacancies, you can apply to go into the specialist unit. And which was, as you are an internal partner, as you're already working for police, it gives you an easy access, or it gives you a better opportunity to get into that specialized unit.
Okay, we've just had another student mention about this PIP. Sorry, it says on the Met website, some of the staff roles does state the minimum PIP level 1 or level 2, and then they've just further stated, how do you gain this qualification?
I have to come back.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had a little look into that whilst you guys were chatting, and it looks like any of the entry-level roles within the Met will all contain the PIP level 1 training. So if you apply for an entry-level position, that is part of your program and learning. It's only those roles which are a little bit higher, you may have to have it already, but there are qualifications outlined from all the different PIP levels on the Police College website. So we're more than happy to share the breakdown with you after, and anything that Purvi finds out as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you, Jack. So one student's asked us, to apply as a volunteer with the Met, is it easier? Oh, sorry. It's just moved. So yeah, is it easier to be accepted, and does it take between 12 to 26 weeks too?
Yeah, yes, it is easier to get accepted to become a police voluntary, and it also, because as a voluntary police officers, you also have to go through vetting. So vetting can take anything between 12 weeks to 26 weeks, because sometimes it takes less than 12 weeks. Like my vetting, when I joined this role, took around 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks to come back. So it depends upon the individual situation, but we say maximum is 26 weeks and minimum can be 1 or 2 weeks. I've seen people's vetting coming back in 1 week time, basically.
Brilliant. So, thank you. Another question. So how many years would you recommend to work with the Met before moving on to specialist units?
I would not say that you have to work numbers of years. It depends upon what you want to do once you have completed your probation and what opportunities are available. It depends upon 2 factors, and then how you perceive it, because there is nothing a standard frame network that you have to serve as a police officer for a number of years. Then only you can specialize. There's no standard framework like that. If you have completed your probation and you decide that you want to specialize and into specialized units, and if the opportunity is available, you can go through the internal recruitment process.
That's lovely. I've also got a question that I'm surprised no one's mentioned it, but I think it might be beneficial. So on the recruitment way, the graduate that we're talking about, is there any particular degree the Met are interested in, or is it just a degree?
Just a degree.
Just a degree. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So you would be having any degree in any discipline. I would have said that. Any degree in any discipline.
Okay.
From UK, and you can apply. And you will be working towards a graduate diploma. So you would not be paying any tuition fee to get your graduate diploma. Met would be paying for your tuition fees, and you would be paid as a paid officer the time you have been accepted on the course, basically.
Brilliant. Thank you. Do we have any more questions from any students? Louise has got another question about the PIP. Louise, Jack and I are going to have a look into this, and we'll get back to you with that, only because Harvey herself isn't 100% sure, and we don't want to mislead you with any of the information we give. Yeah, thanks, Louise. Do I need to live in the UK for 3 years to do the police constable? So this is what we were talking about before.
Yes, you have to live in the UK.
Yes, you do.
At least 3 years, and you should have indefinite leave to remain, a proper visa for a long-term basis. If you're an EU candidate, EU students, you should have an EU card. Hello?
Okay, thank you. So any more questions from students? So someone's asked about the behavioural test. Can you expand on this a bit? So what is it, and how do people pass?
It's an Apollo behavioural test, and it is a general questions of yes or no, agree or strongly agree. There is no set criteria or how you would pass. It depends upon the individual and how they answer the question.
Okay. And is there it just based on the answers? How?
Yeah, it's just based on the answer.
Yeah.
There's no set criteria. This is right or this is wrong. It is It's just a framework of your mind. How does your mind work to the certain situations? They just want to see that. Basically, and a lot of information is available online, and a lot of information is also available on YouTube on behavioral style questionnaires for policing.
Okay.
So you can have a look on that.
Mel's just mentioned about, so the position for working with the youth, from what I gather, Mel, that's once you have completed the course, you can specialise within the Met to work with youths. And I think that would be after your probation. Is that correct?
Yeah, once you have done this course, then you can specialize to work within youth. Once you have done your degree entry program, you can then specialize to work in the youth. Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. Hi, Nathaniel. Can students apply for the course whilst they're in third year, or do they have to wait until after graduation?
They can apply at the end of the third year, and they would only be called into the interview once they have completed their graduation.
Okay. So, Nathaniel, if you are in third year and you've now finished your exams, you can apply now. So I'd be more than happy to help you with that process. Someone has saying they failed the behavioural test and they don't understand why. But as was stated, the behavioural test, it's based upon your answers yourself. So if you strongly agree with something or strongly disagree with something along those lines, although I can't say as to why you did fail yourself. Do we have any clarity on this?
Because the results does not come back to us, basically. It stays there, so we really don't know. But you can wait for the next 3 months and reapply, and during this 3 months you can practice.
I'm happy to step in on this one as well. A lot of the time, Muzz, when it comes to these type of questions, it's not necessarily that there is a right and wrong answer, but it's around your fit based on the culture of the organisation that you're working with. So there'll be questions which some people would think would be the right answer, but actually the Metropolitan Police or a certain other organisation are looking for something quite specific that really meets with their values and their culture and their vision and how they do things as a police force. In which sense, before you undertake those type of questions, it's really important to learn as much as possible about the institution and what they offer, and I say their values, their vision, and exactly those type of things. Once you really start to learn about them, you'll find that you might understand what they're looking for in the response as opposed to what you think the right answer is.
Thank you, Jack. Does being a full-time student count as living here? I'm not sure on that.
If you're on a student visa, the answer would be no. Because as a student you cannot work more than 20 hours. So because after that, because there's no guarantee of what is going to happen in future, so that's the problem. If you have been living here as a student and then you get a proper visa, then we can look into it. A proper like indefinite leave to remain or proper other visas for a long-term basis, we can look into it.
Okay, thank you. So, this student is an EU student.
Yeah.
So they don't have a visa. They are an EU student.
They have an EU card, isn't it? They can apply on that basis.
Yes, I would think so. Yes, she does.
Yeah. You can apply on that basis.
Okay, so you can apply on that basis.
But you have to be in UK for the last 3 years. That's the other thing.
Okay. Yep, she said thank you for that. All right. Any more questions? What I'm doing is I'm going to pop my email address in the chat because I've just had a few comments from students asking for help with their application. So I'm going to pop it in there, and you're more than welcome to email me directly if you have any questions about the application.
Right.
Yeah. And they can email it to me directly if they have any questions about the application. I can assist them.
Okay. Do we have an email, Jack? Do we have an email address for?
Yeah. What I was going to suggest is if people would like access to the slides and some follow-up stuff, which we'll find out for you. So a little bit more around kind of the youth-specific roles within the Met, a little bit more around the PIP. If you want to put your email address into the chat box now, we will collate them all together, send out a follow-up email, which will maybe come via Gemma or myself, and that'll include the slides, any further information that we've got from Purvi and what we found out ourselves, and also obviously the contact details of Gemma and Purvi so that you can get some support with the application should you wish to submit one.
Okay, you send they have to send the email to you, isn't it, Jack? They are sending it in the chat.
Yeah, that's fine. So we will, after this, we'll collate all those together and we'll send out a follow-up email. So if you and I and Gemma liaise, Purvi, around what we want to pull together, we'll try and share that with the students maybe by the end of the week.
Sure.
We're getting a lot of email addresses through, so this is great, guys. Thank you for your thank you for all your information. Yeah,
that's good. We have got a lot of interest.
We do.
Okay. If there's any other questions, if you want to pop them into the chat now, and thanks Gemma so much for facilitating the Q&A stuff. If not, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Purvi for logging on and taking us through some of that today. Apologise that we couldn't answer absolutely everything, but we will get you the answers that you need. And as I say, a follow-up email will come out, and you've got Gemma and Purvi going forward to support you with application and any questions that you may have, where they'll be able to spend some time with you on a one-to-one if necessary. Okay. So yes, if there's nothing else, make sure you've got the email address in the side if you haven't already. Huge thanks to Purvi again. Thanks for logging on, and to Gemma and Maria for helping to facilitate the session. We'll likely be doing some more of these going forward, whether it's with the Met or whether it's something else within the industry that we can try and put on for you. It looks like we're going to be working this way for the foreseeable future. So do stay logged on and looking out for the type of things that we're advertising on a weekly basis. And Gemma will certainly be in touch with you directly if there's things that she thinks will really kind of pique your interest as criminology and law school students.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and it was nice talking to you. And I've tried to answer all your lovely questions, and if I have not answered some, I will definitely come back to you.
That's amazing. I think you've provided a lot of information that even myself, I'm going to take on board, especially when it comes to advising students in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to exit, you just have to close your browser. If you don't close the browser, you'll stay logged in. So that's how to log out of the session. And you'll hear from someone from MDX Works before the end of this week with some follow-up. And yeah, stay safe, everyone, and big thanks to all.
Bye, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Jack, are you staying online? Are we talking here, or we can?
And if you want to log off, Abby, I will give you a call shortly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to note down these email addresses.
Yeah, if we just copy them over. I'll ask Purvi to send us, Gemma, the stuff on the youth justice stuff, and then anything around the PIP.
Yeah, I can have a quick look at that after this and do some research online for that.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. I'm sure there's some stuff that she's got which she'd be able to share.
Yep.
I've got slides already, so I can share them with you.
Brilliant. Great turnout.
It was really good. I think we got up to 2024 at one point, you know.
Yep. It was pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. We've set a record there, so well done, because it's definitely your promotion.
And the GAAs, I mean, Louise, who is also with us, she had sent out a reminder about half an hour beforehand, so I think that definitely helped.
Yeah.
Okay.